everyone, I am Jenessa Turbes with New Dawn Realty and Metro Brokers Elite, and this is Real Simple, where I simplify all things real estate. Today, we are going to be talking about dates and deadlines. If you do a transaction with me, we get under contract, you're going to hear me talk a lot about dates and deadlines. So I just kind of wanted to give a little spiel to kind of give you an introduction to that and what to look for. So I've talked about timeline before as far as buying or selling a home goes. This is going to be more specific to when we are under contract. So if you are a buyer, then in the exclusive right to buy and sell real estate contract with your agent or me, there is a section in there for dates and deadlines. This is where we establish everything in our offer as far as the timeline goes for the offer. Especially, the most common one that we know about is the closing date, right? So that is in this dates and deadlines section of the contract. So if you are a seller, you're going to receive this contract, an offer from a buyer, and you are also going to want to pay attention to these dates and deadlines. Now, it is my job to read through these dates and deadlines also, obviously, before we go under contract to make sure that they coincide with our goals. If you are a seller, the dates and deadlines are in place a lot of times to kind of more so protect the buyer in some sense, but also you as the seller in a sense as well. So I'll kind of go through all that. But it's just something that we really want to pay attention to. And I will look that over and see if I see any red flags, if anything is extended too long, when the closing date is, if that's going to work with our goals as far as you moving. So I will have a close eye on that. I will explain everything to you once we get the contract. And same, if you're buying a home with me, I'll go through those dates and deadlines with you as we're filling out the offer so that you understand what the timeline looks like, and to make sure that also obviously coincides with your goals as a buyer. So this is kind of to bring everybody together to get us to the same goal, which is to the closing table on time. So things that you're going to see in these dates and deadlines, there is a deadline for when earnest money needs to be paid to whoever, the title company, the brokerage, wherever the earnest money is going. There's a deadline as to when that needs to be paid. There are title deadlines as far as when the seller needs to deliver title information to the buyer. There is, of course, one of the other well-known deadlines is the inspection deadline. So every buyer is entitled to an inspection on a home, and I highly encourage it. There is a deadline as to when we need to come back to the seller with either, things we want fixed, addressed, whatever that looks like. So we don't just get to do it whenever and then decide at the end of the contract that, we don't like the items that came back on the inspection and want to, get it out of the contract or whatever. So there are very important deadlines to pay attention to, both from a selling standpoint and a buying standpoint. Now, what happens if you don't reach these deadlines? So if it gets surpassed, either, just by forgetting or whatever that looks like, right? If one of those deadlines gets surpassed, then there's a couple things that could happen. Depending on some of the deadlines, it could cancel the contract. So if a deadline like that is missed, then, there's a possibility that we may not be under contract anymore. Another thing is you miss out on the opportunity to, fight for your desires as far as an inspection goes or an appraisal goes. If an appraisal doesn't come back at value, there's some negotiation that has to happen between the agents and buyer and seller. If we surpass that deadline, then the seller's really going to be in trouble as far as, or the buyer, either way. Either, really the buyer's going to have to bring extra cash to closing. So that negotiation that we have, if the appraisal isn't at value, is going to help kind of even that out. But again, if that deadline's surpassed, then we're going to have a problem. If the buyer can't afford to pay for that lump sum that's extra, then the deal, they can't qualify for their loan and the deal falls through, and then the seller will start all over. So it is conducive to the contract and to get to closing to have both sides working together on these dates and deadlines to make sure that we're on track. Now, as your agent, I am very diligent about staying on top of the dates and deadlines. So basically, you're not always having to go back and check, right? At the beginning of every week, once we're under contract, I'm sending you a to-do list and what to expect. These are the dates and deadlines that we have coming up this week. This is what you need to do for them. And then that really helps you not have to think about it as much. As long as you're doing your to-do list that I give you, then the whole process will go really, really smoothly. So pay attention to the dates and deadlines that I give you. I'll go over them with you when we get under contract, and then I will send you weekly to-do lists specific to the dates and deadlines to make sure that everything moves along smoothly, not slowly. And I'll also make sure that the other agent is keeping on top of their dates and deadlines as well, where it seems fit, right? So pay attention, read my emails, do your to-do list. The dates and deadlines are one of the most important part of the contract, and that's what's going to get us to the closing table smoothly and on time so that we can either get you into your new home or we can get your home sold for you. If you have any questions, of course, always reach out or put them below. If you have any suggestions as to content you would like to see, please put that below, or anything other big questions that you want me to cover in a Real Simple. I am happy to oblige. So I hope everyone is having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much.